Okay, testing. Testing, testing. Oh, it's working. God, finally. Testing. Testing, testing. Okay, hello guys. So I've just been talking to myself for about 10 minutes, which is always fun. Um, Basically, what I was saying is, we are starting in the second half of the season. Actually, let me share this now that it's actually working. Uh, so, second half of the season, we're underway now. We've got three people really who are fighting for the title. We've got Chrissy, who's got a good lead ahead of Hasnain, and Giles is only 25 points behind Chrissy as well. So we've got a bit of a three-way fight on our hands as we head into the second half of the season. No one else is within that magical 43 point mark, which is the maximum amount of points that you can score in a single round. So it would take a pretty impressive mammoth task for anyone else to catch up and overtake, basically, at this stage. So let's go through the grid. We got Genesis is lining up in last place. I don't think he's ever qualified all the way at the back. Then we got Clink Chow, not doing as well as last week for sure. He was basically top 5 on pace last week, and he's not quite there this week. He's lining up second last. Giles was in Le Mans, the real Le Mans, so I think he only just got back and started racing. And he is suffering in P13 as a result of that, even though I think the Lamborghini should be pretty fast around here. Zab lining up P12, a bit of an improved qualifying there for him. And then we've got Chrissy, our championship leader, only in 11th, and actually out-qualified for the first time by his teammate Filthy this season, so a much better qualifying there for Filthy. Jack in P9, he was second in qualifying last week, so he might be a bit disappointed with that. Behind Harry in P8, who disconnected from the feature race, he'll be looking to bounce back strongly. Really good qualifying there for Hurricane and the Lexus in 7th. That's probably his best qualifying of the season. Then we've got Higgsy in 6th, another one who is looking to kind of get his season back on track after the first 3 rounds particularly weren't very good. Tap, I think this might be his best qualifying, up in P5 as well. Brummy carrying on his good feature race result there in 4th place. And Hasnain is the only one out of the top 3 drivers in this championship who's actually qualified in the top 10 here. He's lining up 3rd behind Hennes, who's definitely put in his best qualifying there to be on the front row. And then we've got another debutant, another reserve who is looking pretty strong in this tier, Ponzani. Ponzani, there we go. He is lining up in P1. What's the car he's in? Oh, he's in the Jag. So, yeah, I couldn't get a good lap out of the Jag, so he must be a better driver than me, so let's stick him in tier 1 before too long. No, let's see how he does actually. But yeah, started really strongly here with a pole position. We got 12 laps. Why are we on... Hold on, what is going on here? Why are we on... Okay, just ignore me. I'm confused myself. Okay, let's go. I missed out the lights. Here's the lights. 12 laps, sprint race. Let's see what this new driver could do. He's got the inside line into turn 1. Looks like Hennes gets a fantastic start. The Jag also gets a great start, just absolutely leaving Hasnain. They're too wide into turn 1. Who is going to win out? It looked like Hennes had a nose in front, but he has decided to tuck in behind. Looks like Brummy's gone up into 3rd place in his McLaren. So good start for Brummy. Hasnain has been shuffled down to 5th. Tapped down 1 place to 6th. Higgsy 7th. Then we've got Jack. We've got Hurricane. Oh no. And he makes, I mean, is that an unsafe rejoin? Let's see what his inputs were here. So what's he up to? Well, yeah, he just turns into Jack and then gets punted off as a result. He then kind of accelerates onto the racing line. I think if that was reported, it would get a bit of a penalty. And he wipes out Clink Chow as well. So Hurricane has lots of damage on his 2 right tyres. At the front, Poznani has a lead over Hennes as we head into the double right-hander here. and he is probably going to be able to hold on to that at least for the rest of the lap. Looks like Brummy's got a good exit and might have a bit of a run on headers as we head down the back straight now. Probably not enough there, but it looks like Tap might fancy a go on Hasnain as well. Hasnain feels like he needs to go a bit defensive here. And it's pretty much as you were. What about a bit further back? Chrissy has managed to get himself up into 9th place now at the start. Gilles is still down in 12th. So as for the championship, it looks like only Hasnain might be the one to score points here. Brummy's defending a little bit from Harry into turn 1 now. So really good start for the Mercedes, but they're in 2nd and 4th place right now. And Brummy having to defend a little bit in sector 1 here. Tap is ahead of Hasnain as well. So where'd that happen? So it looks like Hasnain just got a really bad line through the chicane, and Tap's going to dip his car down the inside there and take the position. Quite an easy one to get once you get your car on the inside there. Higgsy tried to overtake as well, but instead goes for the bump draft on his teammate. Huge bump draft there, he lost loads of momentum. So Hasnain might have to try and overtake. So at the moment, it's not actually going to change a lot in the standings because Hasnain's only on for 4 points, Chrissy's only on for 2, and Gilles isn't on for any down in 11th there. It looks like Zab's on course for reverse grid pole, which will be lovely to see if he can keep this one up. So at the front, what's the gap looking like? Is he just driving away from this field? Yeah, it's looking pretty comfortable for him at the moment. He's built a nice lead. Then we've got Headers, Brummy and Harry all very close together behind. Brummy's a little bit too far behind to actually have a go, but Harry's going to be close enough behind Brummy if he's feeling brave on the brakes into the chicane. Brummy's going defensive here. This is where Hasnain made his mistake. Brummy brakes a lot earlier. Harry's going to try and go around the outside. Little bit of contact between them, but I think that was alright, and Harry gets the position. So up into the top 3 now for Harry. As we finish lap 2 out of 12. Chris not really making much progress through the field. Everyone's pretty close apart from Clink and Chow. Clink, it looks like he's struggling a lot round this track. Maybe he hasn't had much time to practice. So Ponzani with an 18.8 to start us off, compared to a 19.1, so 0.3 quicker than Headers. Harry going purple now that he's got past Brummy though, and Tap looking fairly comfortable ahead of Hasnain. Hasnain's struggling actually. Higgsy's got more pace round here by the looks of things, which is a bit awkward because the teammates and Hasnain's in the championship fight and Higgsy absolutely isn't. But it looks, yeah, he needs to find a bit of pace, does Hasnain, if he's going to avoid getting overtaken, because look at this, we've got Jack and Chris lining up close behind as well. I'm not in this team, Ryan. I'm commentating, mate. So yeah, Tap's catching up to Brummy now, and actually Brummy gets a fairly solid exit out of the chicane, going through to the final corner as well. So Tap's gonna have to keep and settle into P5 for now. So the fastest lap has gone to Harry. Harry's on a 18.5 compared to an 18.8 for Header, so 0.3 quicker. 18.7 for Panzani. So Harry the quickest guy out of the top 3, but it is still very close between them. It's going to be a battle now for the next 9 laps on who can avoid the mistakes and who can look after their tyres the best. The Jag's pretty good on the tyres. The Mercedes isn't as good as the Jag on tyres, so they might fall off towards the end if they can't reel in Panzani at this stage of the race. But it looks like Harry's definitely got some speed on his teammate here, Headers. Some nice little gaps forming now. Brummy. Oh, what's going on a bit further down? Jack and Chris having a battle, by the looks of things. Actually, no. Jack defending from Zab, who's going to overtake him. So this is teammate on teammate action. The Nissans fighting each other. And Zab gets that spot on his teammates. This is potentially going to be Zab's best race in Tier 2 since he's joined. First season in Tier 2, Zab's usually in the lower tiers, but has had some really good performances over the last couple of seasons, earned his shot at Tier 2. Struggled outside the top 10 for most of it, but he's only a second off of the championship leader right now, so he's doing much better at Atlanta. So what's the gap between Ponzani and Hennes here? Probably 3 seconds at this point. He's looking very much in control of this race. The last lap again was another 0.3 quicker than what Hennes managed. 18.7, so Harry is still the quickest out of the three of them. Hennes might need to get out of the way for Harry if Harry's going to catch up with Ponzani towards the end of the race. Going around the final corner to complete lap number 5, and yeah, that's a 19 flat, so he is losing a bit of time behind Hennes now for sure, compared to an 18.6 for Ponzani, which is his fastest lap, but he's 3 thousandths away from actually setting the fastest lap of the race there. Got a Kick Jaguar. What is Kick? Is that the streaming platform? Does ALR need a Kick account? Is that the future? I don't think it is, to be honest. I think it's going to be one of them that falls away after a while. So yeah, very solid debut, but he's not really come under any pressure. If Ponzani can win this race, I'm more interested to see what he can do in the feature race. If he can actually come through and do a bit of racecraft here, because this has all been very, very easy for him. Grummy's settled into P4 now, Tap settled into P5, Hasnain hasn't been able to do anything. We know that overtaking's difficult. Hasnain did a fair bit of it, and a fair bit of defending in the previous race at Panorama. But yeah, he's going to have to do things the hard way here if he wants to make up any more points in this sprint race. He's got a great exit from the chicane. Let's see if he can continue to reel in Tap into turn 1. Tap might have to go a little bit defensive to keep the position. He's definitely got the run, does Hasnain. And it just wasn't quite enough there. Chris is... oh, something's happened a bit further down. Something's happened to Higgsy before. Oh, Higgsy had a second penalty and he's dropped right back. So it looked like he was quicker than Hasnain for a while, but he's dropping, yeah, that's a really harsh penalty. Here comes Jack and Filthy at the same time as well. Looks like he's going to hold them off. So let's go back forward to where, yeah, he stayed P9. We've got a huge queue of cars here all fighting for reverse grid pole. Genesis in the hunt, Gilles in the hunt, Hurricane's in the hunt. These guys are all kind of not going to score any points in this sprint race if they don't find something. Gilles losing huge amounts of time and points to his championship rivals in this sprint race, and Genesis gets punted a little bit. I think he's going to get away with that, and that is going to allow a Hurricane to actually get past Gilles because it killed all of his momentum. Jack's going to be the next one to serve a penalty. A 2-second penalty is for sure going to drop him outside of the points here. Everyone's going to be pretty close behind now. This is going to be brutal. Yeah, there we go. And that is 14th place for Jack. So starting, well, finishing lap 7, we're well over halfway through this sprint race already. He's still at 18, 18.9 for Ponzani, 19.1 for Hennes, 18.7 for Harry. So again, Harry's the quickest out of these three. Stuck behind his teammate here. Neither of them really fighting for the Drivers' Championship, so this is all for pride, and potentially, if they could sort themselves out in the second half of the season, they could put forward a bit of a Constructors' Challenge. We know the Mercedes is capable of some really good results. They are proving it here. They've completely dropped Brummy on the last few laps as well, so they're showing some insane consistency. Hasnain's got past Tap somewhere. Into turn 1 is that. Let's go back forward. Yeah, look at that. Just managed to get slightly alongside Tap. There's nothing Tap can do about it there. Tap's going to try and take the corner a little bit more gingerly and get the cutback. Not going to work though, as Lamb managing to get on the throttle just enough. And there we go. There's that position all sorted up. So, Chrissy up into P7 now, our championship leader. Needs to be scoring as much points as he can is Chrissy, because I don't think he's going to be racing around Le Mans. I think he put that he wasn't attending, so this might be the second time that our championship leader loses the lead of the championship due to not racing. And that will kind of equalise things between him and Hasnain, who's also missed a round. But yeah, it might open the door for anybody, essentially. Obviously, we're in the summer months. People get busy. People go on holidays, all that kind of stuff. It does impact it. Oh, we've seen a change for position between Headers and Harry. Looks like Headers got a poor exit and went on the grass on the exit of the chicane. Now Harry sweeps through, but he seems to be the quickest person on the track. He's got some pretty good tyre life, although yeah, Ponzani's tyres are better, like we were saying, so he should be able to, excuse me, be a bit more comfortable now towards the end of this race, especially with the gap that he's got. It must be about 5, maybe not 5 seconds, maybe 4 seconds. It's looking pretty good for Ponzani. Harry took a little bit too long, maybe just ruining a bit of a poorer qualifying compared to his teammate. Regardless, this is still going to be a strong result for the two Mercedes, but you can see how he's dropping Hennes now, and how much he was being held back. Anything happening a bit further down. Hasnain starting to try and reel in Brummy, but it doesn't look like it's enough at the moment. Chris has caught up to the back of Tap pretty well. So Tap struggled in the sprint races quite a lot this season. Hasn't really been top 5, I don't think, at the end of the sprint races, which I don't know why, because he does tend to do fairly decently in the sprints in other seasons. So maybe just having a bit of bad luck. This is a good sprint race though for him so far, but he needs to stay ahead of the likes of Chris to kind of consolidate that. But yeah, Tap's been so much better in the feature races, getting a couple of podiums in the features, but yeah, nothing in the top 5 in the sprints. Chris's season has been similar, but we know why that is. We know the Porsche just loses 3+ positions pretty much everywhere because of its horrible starts. So yeah, great car for Porsche, great at cornering. You can do some good strategies. It's got fairly decent tyres, it's got pretty decent fuel. You can also fuel save in the Porsche. So yeah, it's a much better feature race car than it is a sprint race car. And he's not really closing in on Tap as we're watching him go through these laps here, our championship leader. So maybe he'll have to settle in for 7th. And what's going on in the battle for the last few places? Zab's up in 8th, that's great for Zab. Higgsy in 9th, and Filthy currently with reverse grip pole ahead of Hurricane, we saw all over the place on lap 1. And then Jack with another 2-second penalty. He's about to be overtaken by Clinker Chow. Giles has been in the wars somewhere. He's down in 14th now, and Genesis really struggling as well. He's down at last. Maybe him and Giles had a coming together. No, let's see what happened with Giles. He's gonna lose it. Oh dear. Yeah, quite a common mistake to make. It's a bit of a death corner. Oh, that bit wasn't. Just hitting the wall a second time for good measure. Okay. So yeah, Giles and Jack struggling at the back. 2 more laps to go. Ponzani is lapping in the 18th still, a whole second quicker than what Harry managed that lap. So tyres definitely going off, and potentially some mistakes creeping in as well for Harry. He's half a second down on his quickest in Sector 1. So yeah, I think him and Hennes have just kind of conceded that they're on for a double podium. It's going to be the best result of the season, and they're consolidating that now. Pressure is on the other guys though. Pressure's definitely on Hasnain, who wants to get these extra points for P4 off of Brummy. Overtaking incredibly difficult here. We've also got Tap just ahead of Chrissy behind, but Chrissy doesn't look close enough to have a move. Hasnain looked a lot closer to Brummy actually. Brummy on for another great result actually, after a strong Mount Panorama. Rounding the final corner to start the final lap. I think as long as Brummy doesn't make a mistake, he's got this P4 wrapped up. Yeah, he's looking neat and tidy here. Sector 1 is the opportunity. Looks like Hennes might have made a mistake in turn 1. He's getting a lot closer to Brummy now, and he's definitely lost some time to Harry up in P2. And is Hasnain going to be able to get a run? It looks like Brummy actually had a better Sector 1 there than Hasnain. Brummy does have better tyres, and that might be coming into play now as well. Now braking, he needs a great exit here. If he doesn't do that, then it's pretty much over, and it doesn't look like he's got a great exit. Chrissy's actually dropped off the back of Tap as well. Chrissy's tyres in a horrible state here. So let's rejoin this guy on his debut, stuck it on pole position. He's going to get the win as well. He's not going to get the perfect score. He misses out on the fastest lap by 3 milliseconds, but he's rounding the corner to take victory in the Jag. In fact, the Jag won in Tier 1 and both Tier 2s at Road Atlanta, so definitely is a decent car round here. Harry and Hennes, double podium for AMG boys. Brummy P4. Hasnain 5th, beats his championship rivals. Tap in 6th, Chris gets 7th, so he gets 4 points for his troubles in the sprint. Zab 8th, Higgsy 9th, and Filthy on reverse grid pole. Missing out on the points are Hurricane, Clinker Chow, who actually recovered fairly decently after the opening couple of laps. Gilles in 13th after hitting the wall. Jack in 14th with a million penalties. And we didn't quite see what happened for Genesis to be 15 seconds slower than his usual lap times on lap 10. But that is why he is finishing in 15th. So let's find the feature race. Feature race is going to be interesting because I think we might see some people trying the medium soft. It'll be interesting as well because the undercut is absolutely massive here. You can't really two-stop, so if anyone tries to two-stop, they're not going to be finishing in the top 8, that's for sure. The Jag's not that good in feature races, so what can Ponzani do? Is he going to be massively fuel-saving, which is kind of what you need to do to stick with the cars when they come into the pit lanes? The jury's out. Let's have a quick look at what tyres everyone's on. So, hards for the guys at the back. Hasnain bucking the trend again. Remember, he started on the softs at Panorama and was the only one on the softs. He's so far the only one on the mediums. And Filthy also starting on the mediums. So that is interesting. In our Tier 2, P1 started on the mediums and literally the entire grid started on the hard. So it's almost the same, apart from Hasnain is starting on the mediums as well. So is he going to try a medium soft just like he did in the previous round? And what is Ponzani going to do? Let's ride on board with our race winner from the sprint race, Ponzani. We can see 2 of the championship rivals at the front. Look at this. There we go. We're getting going. It's a really awkward start for rolling start. It's not really equal. If you're starting in certain positions, you get kind of shafted a little bit. So Ponzani gets a pretty decent run, can't get a move done. Everyone is kind of line astern, and he goes a little bit wide there on his hard tyres. Everyone's snaking through Sector 1 pretty decently so far. Looks like Hennes, Brummy, Aslam all trying to get a position, but we're starting to see some little gaps forming. Chrissy putting a lot of pressure on Zab in P3. If he can could get this position pretty quickly, this will go bode well for the rest of his race. Is Zab going to fight it? It doesn't really look like Zab's fighting it. Chris goes a long way around just to be sure anyway, and he gets that position. Zab slots in behind. Apart from that, it's pretty much as you were. Oh, Zab's made a bit of a mistake coming out of the corner, and he's out of this little slipstream train. He's lost a position to Zab now. He's lost a position to Hasnain now, and he's locked back into 6th place. Well, I've got Brummy, Henners, Harry, and Ponzani rounding out the top 10. You got Tap and Hasnain going side by side here into the chicane, and a very late move there from Brummy. He had to back out of it, and it looked like he gave Zab a bit of a little bump draft through the chicane as well as an apology there. So back as you were for Zab. Filthy crossed the line on his mediums. He's looking pretty comfortable at the front. Hasnain trying pretty hard on his medium tyres to make his way through the field, but Tap goes a little bit wide there, and Hasnain gets that position. So there's one pretty easy position, and the next up on his target list is the only person ahead of him in the championship, Chrissy, up in 3rd, but there's a little bit of a gap there. A bit further back, got a bit of a train forming behind Tap, who was recovering after going a little bit wide there. Zab looks like he's got a nice run on Tap, and he's going to try and get spot in the top 5 once again. Brakes nice and late for that corner. Can Tap get the switch back or brake late into here? You don't really want to do it. It's going to ruin both of your... Oh dear. That's 100% a penalty. So, as we said, it did ruin them. Yeah, and Brummy just taking too much speed through there, not really gauging how slow the two fighting in front of him would be, and then he just taps Zab into a spin and also loses all of his momentum, so he's just dropped completely out as well. So that's going to be a rough feature race now for both of them. Unfortunately for Zab, after his best sprint race of the season, he is outside of any kind of contention. So where does that leave everyone else? We've got Filthy with quite a comfortable lead over Higgsy, who's just ahead of Chrissy, and Hasnain, who's trying to catch up as well. Then we have a bit of a gap down to Tap, who's just ahead of Henners. And then we have Ponzani, Hurricane, and Harry, who's not made any progress. He's trying to go around the outside of Hurricane there. Didn't really work. Hurricane getting a fairly decent start after not finishing in the top 10 in the sprint. He's up into 8th now, and our race winner from the last round is in 7th currently. He is doing some short shifting. Okay. Hurricane put some pressure on Ponzani here. This is a good Lexus track to I think I say that every week, but every week is true. Bit of a poor exit there though for Hurricane. Harry might fancy a bit of a go. He needs to get past Hurricane here because Harry, like we saw in the sprint, probably potentially the quickest driver on the track, but he's not made much progress at all in this sprint race. And Ponzani was trying to get past Headers as well, couldn't do it. Sorry, Headers was trying to get past Tap and couldn't do it. Harry looks like he was going to get past Hurricane, loses all of the grip on his tyres on the exit. Now Hurricane's on the inside. Harry's got to be careful around the outside here, and he manages to slot himself behind Hurricane. So yeah, losing a lot of time, losing multiple seconds a lap to be honest, fighting with Hurricane. Jill's actually fairly close to him as well. Meanwhile, we've got a bit of a Tap train really at the front here. No one really able to get past. We saw Henners have a little look on the back straight, and he might have a bit of a dive into this next corner. You can also see Chrissy is trying to get past Higgsy as well. Higgsy will be helping out his teammate here. Let's go back. Look at this. So, we've got Higgsy, Chris, and Hasnain, and Higgsy and Hasnain are teammates. So, Higgsy might want to be helping his teammate out here. And he goes a bit deep. I don't know if there was contact there, it didn't really look like contact. Chrissy's gone for the position anyway, so we're going to assume that there wasn't. Now we've got a bit of a drag race going on with Hasnain pretty close behind as well. Filthy is still within sight on his medium tyres, but this is a good start for Filthy in getting a decent result here. Higgsy on the inside, braking pretty late, makes the corner nicely, keeps P2 from Chris, and Hasnain pretty close behind as well, who's going to win the battle of trying to get alongside into the final corner. Well, Chris tried it, but there was nowhere he could really go, so Higgsy keeps the position again. Chris a little bit slow on the pit straight. Look at that, much better exit through the first corner from Hasnain on his medium tyres. We're only 5 laps in. It's all pretty much as you were. Then we got Tap in 5th. Ponzani has made a position. So where'd this happen? On the back straight. This header's going to be defending. He is. Ponzani's going to get Tap's slipstream here to help him a little bit. And he's going to go the long way round. Headers gives him the space. And yeah, pretty straightforward there. So that leaves Ponzani up in 6th, Headers in 7th. Hurricane's still doing pretty well in 8th and still keeping Harry behind. Gilles catching up now as well. Boromir's been in the wars in 11th. Zabu's been in the wars. That's so unfortunate. Look at that, his quickest lap is 5 seconds slower than the fastest lap of the race. Filthy with a half-second penalty, that's quite massive. Is he going to be serving it this lap? He is indeed. He should stay in P1, but that's going to change kind of the outlook of his race a little bit, because if these guys catch up to him and start overtaking him, he's going to lose a lot of time that he was building up on basically everyone from P5 down. I don't think Filthy's going to be able to be in the podium hunt at the end, but definitely P4 downwards if he can keep his composure there. Chris going really wide. He's going to open the door for his championship rival into turn 1. This is going to be one of the first battles we see between these two. They give each other plenty of space. And Hasnain has to tuck in behind. And it's as you were. What about Ponzani? Is he going to be able to get past Tap and start to try and close the gap to these this group of 3? Not yet. Henna's still in this fight as well. Okay, let's see. Ponzani has a run. Oh, actually, up here, Chrissy has a run on Higgsy. So we'll go and look at the Ponzani move a little bit later. But yeah, he's going to be brave on the brakes. Higgsy's kind of blocking him off here. There's a bit of contact. Hasnain is trying to get through as well. And it's again exactly the same. Aslam's going to be pushed a little bit deep here unless he can get a nice line. Can't, it's pretty much as you were. He's going defensive into turn 1 now. Is everyone going to be able to make it through? That's the key thing. They do. So let's go back and see how Ponzani got through Tap. Bit more of a straightforward overtake, that one. So these 3, nose to tail. 7 laps in, and Filthy's starting to build a bit of a lead now because these guys are starting to squabble a bit. So after his half-second penalty, look at that, he's already past the next corner. Chris looking to get this move done on Higgsy. Higgsy absolutely defending the inside pretty much every corner at this point. That means that Ponzani's going to catch up as well, and this train is going to be one massive one instead of 2 smaller ones. Looks like Aslam accidentally gave Chris a really nice bump draft at the exit of that corner, and this might have been exactly what Chris needs to get the move done. He's on the outside. Hasnain might be able to give Higgsy a bit of a bump draft, unless he wants to make it 3 wide into the corner. How's this going to go? Chris is still there. He's not going to give up that position easily. And, oh dear. Oh dear. Let's see that from Chris's point of view. I wonder if this was reported. This is the top 2 of the championship. A little bit of a coming together. Was there space? I think we need to do the old camera. Let's see. I don't know if this was reported. So... So Chris actually hits the apex really nicely right here. Aslam is squeezing him. They're both... Yeah, Chris can't even steer any further right than he is right now. He's actually... Look at that. He's actually managed to get even further right. But he is on full throttle. Hasnain's not. What's going to happen here? And then Chris kind of moves a little bit over. But there is still plenty of space for Hasnain. And then... It's about to happen here. Why is Chris suddenly facing... pointing in that direction? That's a weird one. And there's the contact. So you could argue Hasnain could have been a little bit further to the left. They're both fighting over the same piece of tarmac. Let's have a look. I mean, the outcome of him getting absolutely punted off track is a bit extreme, isn't it? For that small amount of contact. So let's see. Look at that. That's really unfortunate. Could be a championship defining incident, that one. So Hasnain knocked down all the way to 11th actually on his medium tyres. Again, trying this alternate strategy to everyone else, and yeah, I don't know what he's going to do for the rest of the race, but that's an unfortunate one. Everyone else super close together now. Higgsy's still in second, so if Higgsy plays the team game, Hasnain could really not lose much time at all to the rest of these guys. Oh, Chris nearly loses it himself. Panzani all of a sudden is in P4, our race winner from the first round. Just not really done much. He's done an overtake on tap, but that's about it in terms of like actually making progress up the field. Everyone else has kind of just shot themselves in the foot here. So yeah, Tap is now a couple of seconds back on these guys. Panzani might fancy a late move here. He's looking for it. Backs out of it. Tap defending a little bit from Henners. Then we have a bit of a gap to Hurricane. Then we have Harry and Gilles trying to get past Harry, and it looks like he's managed to do it as well. We have Brummy and Hasnain trying to recover here. He lost 8.5 seconds on that previous lap. He might have lost a little bit more on this one as well, because I can't imagine him being too quick with the dirty tyres. No, it's alright, that one. Anyway, that's all very good news for Phil, because look at this. He's going through, trying to figure out what his gap is going to be. So 22 seconds on the clock when he goes past. What is the gap going to be here? 29 when Higgsy. So that's 7 seconds Philby's got right now. Obviously he's still on the better tyre. It might increase even further if Chris and Higgsy start fighting again, and Panzani's going to get in there as well. Hurricane, I think, might have got past Harry there. It's all kicking off. It's all kicking off. Actually, no, Gilles has lost a place to Harry, so Gilles falling down a little bit. Let's see what Henners is going to do. Henners looking like he's going to try and move around the outside on Tap. And Tap's going to keep that spot this time around with a good exit as well. We've also got some action going on a bit further down. Chris trying to do the exact same thing on Higgsy. I think Higgsy's going to shut the door here. And Chris a little bit out of shape. Is Panzani going to get that spot over Chris? What a great bit of opportunism there from Panzani to get that spot on Chris. Chris completely out of shape. Went for a bit of a half move on Higgsy. Didn't work out. Was all out of shape through the chicane and got punished really hard for it. And now our race 1 winner is in pretty good position here. He just needs one more position here on Higgsy, and then he is ahead of every other driver who's on the same tyre as him. Chris could respond though. Chris, obviously our championship leader, doesn't get overtaken too often. He's usually the one doing the hunting, and he only got overtaken through a mistake there. Again, Higgsy with a bit of breathing space. Someone span. It was Giles. Yeah, this is what happens when you don't get enough practice in, mate. Anyway, let's rejoin this nice little battle for P2. We've got Chris pretty close behind Pizzani. Pizzani really benefiting from slipstream from Higgsy. He's not really fuel saving much. Great exit once again from the chicane of Pizzani. He's defending pretty well there. And Chrissy's got a bit of a run. This is not where you want to be placing your car into turn 1 though, Chris. Manages to tuck back in. Maybe he's trying to force a bit of an error from Pizzani with the pressure that he's putting on him. But yeah, we haven't seen any kind of mistake so far here from Pizzani. Driving very composed. A little bit wide there for Chris. I wonder if that... I don't think that'll compare. I think that was a bit too slow. Let's see though. Oh, never mind. What do I know? Half a second. So great news for Pizzani. He can focus a little bit more on attacking Higgsy, who's managed to get away with it a little bit because Chris has been desperate to get that P3 back. Yeah, Filthy maintaining a very decent gap there on Higgsy, pretty much the same, around about 7-ish seconds as the previous time that I checked. So yeah, even though his tyres are starting to wear, he's still lapping in the 1 minute 20s, 20.8 for him. What's Higgsy doing? Higgsy hasn't really been under any pressure here. He's on a 20.9, so it's still a tenth slower. Pizzani's going to start putting some real pressure on him now. He's definitely caught up. Chris has actually fallen into a Tap a little bit here. I think Tap might have been saving his tyres at the earlier stint because he's still in the hunt here. Yeah, Higgsy's taking Sector 1 very well. This is easily the quickest we've seen Higgsy in this feature race. He is the lead driver on the hard tyres, so that gives him the opportunity to kind of reel in Filthy as the race wears on when the tables turn. We've got Hasnain back ahead of Harry on his medium tyres, and he's going to try and get past Hurricane now. So Hasnain on a huge recovery run here. He'll be pleased to see that Chrissy isn't in the top 3 right now, and his teammate is. Hurricane is going to get hung out to dry here, surely. It's a good braking there for Hasnain. Makes the chicane pretty decently. Hurricane might try and get the move. No, he can't get alongside enough. So there's P7 now. That's his quickest lap of the race as well, Hasnain. So he's going to stay out for a few more laps. I think he's probably going to try a 15-15. Don't think you can make the medium soft work with that amount of tyre wear. Similar tyre wear to Filthy, so it's going to be a question of when does Filthy want to come in. He's dropped into the 21s now a couple of times. He's looking fairly comfortable, but Pizzani has kind of, I think, maybe settled for staying behind Higgsy. Let's see how much fuel saving he's doing. That'll indicate. Well, that's... yeah, he's not fuel saving at all by the looks of things. So he does, oh, there we go. He does want to get this position off Higgsy. Higgsy does have better fuel, so if Higgsy can stay ahead up until the pits, he should stay ahead through the pit sequence as well. Chrissy's got way better fuel than Panzani as well. So yeah, he's about to experience the downside of driving the Jag. If you drive it flat out especially, you're not going to, you're going to spend a lot longer in the pits basically than everyone else. Which might, well, it should jeopardise his ability to get a podium here, because Chris is close enough to get him in the pits as it stands. Tap potentially as well. Actually, Tap's got pretty bad fuel. Henna's fuel's fairly decent. Hasnain's fuel's fantastic, and he's starting to catch up to everyone who overtook him with that incident with Chrissy. Someone looked close. Panzani looks close to Higgsy again. There's Filthy at the front of the screen. Yeah, Higgsy's definitely starting to catch Filthy by about a second a lap now. So is this going to be Filthy's time to come into the pits? It is. Is he going to make it in without getting a penalty? Looks like it. Is he going to hit the wall? No, he makes it in perfectly there. So Higgsy takes the lead. It might not be for long though. Oh. Panzani's got a run into turn 1. Is he going to be brave on the brakes? Higgsy covers it off pretty nicely there. Hasnain comes into the pits as well. So these guys are going to get a huge undercut on these other guys. Unless anyone else decides that they want to try a 15-15 on this lap. I don't see why some of them wouldn't. Though Panzani looks like he's really shredding that front left. So I think he might have to stay out a bit longer. Higgsy's fairly similar on the front left as well. Actually, all of them. Tap's tyres look fantastic compared to everyone else's. Genesis's look pretty decent. Brummy's, of course, it's the McLaren. Filthy's out on the hards to the end. And he's ahead of Giles, and Hasnain comes out down in 13th hards to the end as well. Both have put very similar amounts of fuel in. So let's see, is Panzani going to try and get an overtake done here? He is going for it. Higgsy did leave the door open, but he's going to grab the inside line on the exit of the chicane. Now, are these guys coming into the pits or what? No, they're both carrying on again. If I was Panzani, I'd probably just do the opposite of what Higgsy was doing. If I thought I could make 15 laps work on the hards. On the medium, sorry. Chrissy definitely thinks he does. He can, sorry. Oh, Higgsy's lost it! On the outside! Right, let's see this again. From Higgsy's point of view. So he's under a lot of pressure. He goes a little bit wide on the final corner. Panzani kind of had a nose in, and then he brakes a bit later, and it just scares Higgsy off track. But he rejoins pretty decently. He's got some dirty tyres, but yeah, leader of the race is our sprint race winner. Now let's join and jump to Chris now and see where he comes out in relation to Filthy and Hasnain, and also Giles, who could get in the way here. So Filthy is very close. He's just coming into turn 1 now. Chris is still at the pit exit. Filthy is going to be ahead. Giles, it's going to be really close between him and Giles. Giles goes coming through turn 1. Chrissy's just coming out of the pits. Chrissy is ahead. That is crucial for Chris on his mediums. He is the lead driver of the guys who've pit so far for the mediums. Hasnain is on the hards for the rest of the race. He's going to really struggle for pace against these guys. Filthy had the advantage. Let's see what that ends up being. Difficult to say. I think that's maybe a little bit bigger than his advantage that he had on Higgsy. Tap! What's happened? This is an error all on his own, surely. Just doesn't brake in time. Goes a little bit. Now, Henna's He's trying to get through. And he does get through. Let's see that again from Henna's point of view. Let's see if there's any issue with that. I mean, Tap's out of shape. Rejoins, I mean, you could potentially call that an unsafe rejoin. And yeah, there wasn't much time for Henna's to react. Into the pits goes Harry. Tap's decided to come in as well. I think this is as late as you want to pit, really, for the mediums. Unless you can't make them last that long. So Panzani carries on anyway in the lead of the race. He's already, well, he was about 3 seconds quicker than Higgsy on that lap, but we did see Higgsy go slightly off track. Henna's staying out really late as well, so these guys are all going to be pretty quick at the end on the medium tyres, whereas everyone else is going to be kind of nursing them. Clinker Chow doing the same, and then we've got Filthy finally. We've got Chris, who's coming through turn 1 to keep, well, he's net P2. Giles hasn't pit yet. Aslam's coming through, so he takes net P3. Then Harry is going to be net P4, actually, by staying out that long. So it's worked out pretty decently for Harry, who was really struggling to make any overtakes at all. Then we have Zab, who hasn't pit. They have Genesis, who has, actually ahead of a few of these guys. He's ahead of Hurricane, he's ahead of Tap, he's ahead of Brummy. So Genesis could get a good result here. Mediums to the edge now as well. He needs to hopefully not get held up by Zab, if that one's going to work out for him. Up at the front, Panzani's carrying on for an 18th lap. Is he going to try the hard soft? Can you do that? I don't know. I never tried it. I didn't practice actually for Atlanta. Henna's in P3, putting in the fuel now. This is really crucial to see where Henna's is going to come out. So we have a lot of drivers pretty close together here. Yeah, Filthy's going to be comfortably ahead of Henna's. Chris is going to be comfortably ahead of Henna's. Hasnain is going to be close. No, we still can't see him coming through. Giles, there's Harry. What about Genesis? It looks like he's slotted into the gap between Harry and Genesis. So he's going to have very fresh tyres. He's going to catch up to that pack, surely. But he's lost a lot of positions there. And that is what Higgsy and Panzani might experience as well when they eventually come in. So Panzani's finally coming in. Oh, that's going to be a penalty, surely. That is surely going to be a penalty. Higgsy carries on again. So Higgsy's going to take the lead of the race. He's been massively fuel saving. He's got so much fuel left in this tank. And is it going to be a hard soft? What is he trying here? He just wants the clear air, I think. Still lapping at the 22s and the 23s. Now, this is going to be crucial. Panzani's direct rivals were Filthy and Chrissy. He lost all that time getting punted off by Chris. Decided to stay out as long... Oh no, that was Hasnain. He didn't. He got past Chris shortly after that. Looks like Chris is going to get the undercut done on him. Has gone on to the mediums, so he didn't feel brave enough for the soft tyres. There's Hasnain, who's got past him as well. So out into P5 for Panzani after staying out for so long. But Hasnain's on the hards, and they are quite a few laps old now. Higgsy, meanwhile, where's Higgsy come out? Oh no, Higgsy hasn't come in yet. Clinker Chow is coming out down in P13. Higgsy is about to lap Zab. He could stay out even longer. And he comes in. Panzani didn't actually get a 3-second penalty there. I was pretty sure that he'd crossed the pit line. But maybe there was a bit of lag going on. So Higgsy will be a little bit behind these guys. Probably going to be behind Harry. Might be behind Giles. But Giles is going to surely come in on this lap as well. Let's see what tyres Higgsy puts on as he leaves the pits here. Just over 50% fuel. Filthy is going to get past him. Chris is potentially... Wait, something's happened between those two. Let's see what tyres Higgsy's on when he's coming out. Higgsy has put on the mediums. Let's see what's happened between Filthy and Chrissy. These are teammates, so this is probably a little bit of team orders here. Filthy trying to support Chris in his quest for a Drivers' Championship. And yeah, there you go, there is him backing off, and Chris takes the lead of yet another feature race here. And crucially, he's got some good support for from his teammate for the rest of the race. Filthy's on the hard tyres. He might start getting caught by Aslam, but Aslam's on the hards as well. So it really helps these medium hard runners get a big undercut on everyone else, because Panzani on the mediums is stuck behind as well. Yeah, he's struggling to really catch Asnay too much. These two are very, very quick drivers. So they're quite evenly matched on pace. We have Harry really close behind as well. What are we going to see for the end of this race? We've got some of the usual suspects. We've got Chris and Hasnain in the top 5. Harry, who's improved lately, in the top 5. We've got Filthy still in second after doing a perfect race so far. And here's Panzani going on Hasnain. He's currently purple, and it looked like Hasnain wasn't really battling that one. Maybe he wanted to cut back, maybe he's just thinking, let's see what this guy can do if he can try and catch Chrissy. But that is another dent in Hasnain's attempt at closing the gap on Chris, because that's another few points. I think that might be 3 points that he loses out on through getting overtaken by Zani. Now he's got Harry on fresher mediums behind. Oh, they're both a little bit wide through the S section. Yeah, this should be fairly easy for Harry. Given the tyre advantage that he's got. Also, like we were saying, he definitely had the best pace in the sprint race. Seems to have found it again in this feature. Although a pretty dodgy exit onto the back straight is going to destroy any chances. So then we've got Tap down in 9th. We've got Genesis still in the top 10 here. Rummy actually behind his teammate in 11th. We have Kling, we've got Gilles, who's been in the wars, and we've got Zab, who's definitely been in the wars as well. So 2/3 of the race is done. Chris looks like he's got a fairly comfortable lead here. He's lapping in the 19s. His teammate is lapping in the high 20s. Low 20s for Panzani, and for Hasnain, and for Harry. We've got Higgsy coming under a bit of pressure from Henners, actually. So I'm not sure if coming in so late was a good idea for Higgsy. He was in P2 doing really, really well. Now he's in P6 trying to defend from P7. Yeah, and then it's all kind of looking fairly standard. So we've got a nice little battle for P2 coming our way. Panzani's catching up. We've got Harry. I think he's just overtaken Aslam in a very unconventional place. Look at this. Late braking. Hasnain sees it coming, gives it the space. And that is P4 for Harry. Podium's not out of the question. Filthy might be struggling in these last 8 laps, but Hasnain might try and take the position back. Actually, no, they're doing some updrafting. Hasnain wants to try and catch a couple of position guys up front as well. He doesn't want to lose any more time fighting Harry. But again, that's another couple of points Hasnain's losing to Chris since everyone's come out on the pits on the better tyres. 21 flat that lap, 20.2, so that's 8/10 quicker for Harry. Still in the 19s for Ponzani, still in the high 20s for Filthy, and yeah, in the high 19s for Chris. I think Chris might have this wrapped up as long as he doesn't make any mistakes. Unless Panzani can get past Filthy as well, pretty much on this lap. Start putting in some purple laps. Good exit there for Panzani. He might actually have an opportunity into this chicane. Filthy, like we said, is Chris's teammate. Wants to keep everyone as far back as possible. He's not actually fighting with Panzani in any sort of championship sense, but Panzani could potentially close the gap. Filthy's not really defended too much here, but he's trying to go the long way round in the chicane, and he's got a good position on the inside, but Panzani had too much grip around the outside, and now Harry's going to try and follow him through as well. That's a great bit of opportunism from Harry. Let's see how that happened. Quite a way back actually, but yeah, lots of time lost. Filthy actually got out of the throttle a little bit on the exit of the chicane, which is why he lost all of his momentum, and Harry, like we said, up into the top 3 now. Yeah, it wasn't looking too likely at the start of the first stint, that's for sure. He was definitely struggling against some of the guys who've dropped away through the pit sequence. Can he get P2 now from Panzani? These guys are both on the mediums. Panzani has better tyres on him than Harry. So in theory, Panzani should be able to get away with. These two were the 2 quickest in the sprint race, but they were separated with a car in between them, so this is the first time we're going to be able to properly see them have a bit of a scrap. Solid exit, but I don't think there's going to be any movement in positions quite yet. Everyone's pretty close now. Aslam on his hards. Maybe the hards are coming back to him now. He's also catching Filthy on the hards. What is Filthy going to do here? Dive bomb territory all over every day, and he is going for it. He couldn't really get alongside properly, and yeah, gets his positioning wrong on the exit there, Hasnain, and loses out to Higgsy as a result, so his day's just getting worse. This is the first time since I've started commentating Hasnain that we've seen some, I would call them jitters, maybe because he suddenly found himself in a championship fight, but yeah, a few avoidable incidents here in that last chicane. Whether he's at fault or the driver's been at fault, like, you have to think about where you're positioning your car, because there are places that you can put it that definitely puts you more in harm's way. And he looks like he's lost a position to Henners now as well. Where's that happened? Henners into turn 1 as well, got that. So yeah, Aslam just not having any confidence on these hards. Henners trying to get into the top 5 now. Let's see if he can get past Filthy. He is really brave on the brakes there. Filthy gives him the space. And Aslam's there to try and capitalise as well if he can. Gets a normal exit, does Aslam, and Henners and Filthy. Basically, who does Aslam want to help here? Probably Henners, because Filthy is Chris's teammate. So he's going to follow him through with a bit of slipstream, with a bit of bump drafting. And is he going to do the bait and betray? Is he going to go brave? No, you can't. He needs to take this chicane normally for a lap or 2. Filthy might have a run on him here. Ugh, sorry, yawning. It's very rude. Right, the 2 hard shot guys have dropped to 6th and 7th now, so I think it's safe to say that the medium hard strategy was not the right one for this kind of track. Hard medium seems to be far superior. No one's gone for the hard soft. Chris's lead is pretty much as big as Filthy's was in the first stint. Panzani hasn't really been able to drop Harry in this final stint. Harry's doing a pretty solid job here, although it was a bit bit on the grass there on the first right-hander, and then just too deep on the second, probably because he was out of shape. Higgsy's looking more comfortable now. I think this is where stopping late is going to help Higgsy out massively. Everyone else's tyres are starting to go off a little bit, and he's starting to drive away a bit more. And I think Panzani might be feeling the same, although Harry is still hanging on in there pretty well. If Harry is still in the 19s on this lap, I'll be fairly impressed. Yeah, he's still in the 19s, 19.8. 19.5 for Panzani. Fastest lap actually goes to Clint Kachow. I'm pretty pleasantly surprised at that. On the mediums. He hasn't actually done like an early stop to try and get that as well. That's just on pace. So maybe he just didn't practice for this, and he's finally finding his pace on lap 26, 27 of the actual feature race. So yeah, good debut round for Panzani. Pole position, a P1, and probably a P2 here. Yeah, he stopped really coming under pressure from Harry. Higgsy's not under any pressure, Henna's not under any pressure. Aslam's not under any pressure. Filthy might get 7th for his troubles. I was expecting potentially a top 5 actually, but since he's put on the hards, he's really struggled. Been caught out a little bit and mugged by a couple of drivers getting their overtakes done as well. But yeah, P7's still going to be fairly solid. Hurricane's done fairly solid as well, P8. Tap just holding off Brummy in 9th. Kind of expected a bit of a better feature race from Tap because he's usually better in the features, and he had a good qualifying here. But yeah, maybe the Lambo's not too good around here because Gilles struggling at P13. Still lapping in the 20s himself, but he's scoring, what, like 4 points here. Chris has a half-second penalty with a couple of laps to go, and that's going to probably be 1.5 by the end of it. It's quite a brutal penalty line around Atlanta. Is it enough for Panzani to maybe mount a late challenge with 2 laps left? Probably not. But he has left Harry, and he has the best tyres on the field. Infinitely better than Chris. Chris has basically timed it to have completely dead tyres at the end of the race. Panzani is still going quicker, so that's a 19.5 compared to a 21.4. So that's 2 seconds. So, I don't know, if Chris can avoid any more penalties, then I think he might have this sewn up and might be able to extend his lead ahead of a race where he's not going to be in attendance, essentially. So 30.2 in that first sector. So half a second in one sector for Panzani compared to Chris here. The win is definitely on the cards. Actually, the top 3 are going to be fairly close by the end of this. But that gap does look a little bit too big with just 1 lap to go. Maybe Aslan might be able to catch headers. Nah, I don't think so. They're probably at the crossover point in terms of tyre performance, but it's not going to be good enough. Tap's lost a position. Going to be again at the chicane. Lots of overtakes getting done today at the chicane. Tap has absolutely no pace there. And then we're back on 1 lap later, and he's not able to try and do the same to Brummy. And then everyone else is just really struggling at the back. Link Chow might have, no, he hasn't come into the pits. He's just had another huge mistake on lap 27, and he's dropped despite setting the fastest lap, he's dropped a bunch of positions there. But anyway, Chris has started his final lap. We're going through sector 1. His tyres are absolutely crying at the moment, but his last lap was still a 20.4, which is fairly decent compared to a 20 flat for Panzani. So, yeah, 4/10 slower. Actually, he must have been quicker on the second half of the lap than he was through sector 1, because he was 5/10 down in sector 1. Tackling these last couple of corners fairly decent. This is going to put Chris in a very comfortable position going into the last 3 rounds. Like I said, he's missing next week. He's on for a 25-point lead. The maximum he can score is 43. Hasnain with a P5 and a P6 today needs a much better round at Le Mans, which should suit the GR Supra. But it's going to be Chris coming round to take victory, consolidate his lead at the top of the standings. Panzani is going to take second. He's going to jump straight into 14th in the standings there. Harry in 3rd place. Great podium for him. Higgsy in 4th. Much better performance this week for him. Henner's in 5th and Hasnain in 6th. Hasnain will be ruining that incident that he had with Chris at the start, because Chris ended up winning and he ended up 6th. Filthy in 7th. Hurricane's in 8th. Brummy's in 9th. Taps in 10th. They have a little gap down to Genesis in 11th. Then a really big gap down to Gilles. Gilles struggling massively at this track. He'll have to come back stronger at Le Mans if he wants to reel in Chrissy. He's 50 points behind, but he is actually going to be showing up at the next race, and Chrissy isn't, so he could get that down potentially to 7 points if he has the perfect race. Zab comes home in 13th, scores 3 points for his troubles. Really unfortunate what happened at the start for him. Clinker Chow also scores 3 because he gets the fastest lap point, and we had a DNF. No, we didn't. We only started with 14 for this feature race because Jack didn't start this one. So yeah, as I was saying, standings. Chrissy, 25-point lead over Hasnain. Hasnain could take the lead if, well, actually, if he does a 5th and a 6th again, he'd be 5 points behind. So he really needs to get top 4 in both races next week, Hasnain, if he wants to take the lead of the championship. Gilles, 50 points behind, just needs a perfect weekend. Headers is 65 points behind. Tap is 67 points behind and in 5th place. So Tap's getting up there. Arukas has dropped down because he didn't race in Atlanta. X90's missed the last 2 rounds, so he's dropped down to 7th despite being in the championship hunt earlier on. Sam competed in the first 2 rounds and was leading the championship after both of those rounds, dropped down to 8th now. Then there's Higgsy in 9th, and Mighty Mini Smiley rounds out the top 10. In the constructors, it's super close. We've got Toyota 181, Porsche 181, Lambo 179. 2 points separate the top 3. And then we've even got Peugeot not too far back on 149. That's what, 32 points back? Mercedes, another 7 points back from that. So really a 5-horse race still for the constructors. And yeah, Mercedes really helping themselves with that double podium in the sprint, and then getting a 5th place and what was the other one? A 3rd place in the feature as well. So double podium there for Mighty Mini Smiley. Definitely his best result in ALR, getting a double podium in Tier 2. Next week, we're at Le Mans. It could rain. I hope it does, because that'll make for interesting comms. But yeah, join me for that. It'll be good. Cheers.